doing some plumbing. We have a valve here that leaks. Someone has tried to, it looks like JB weld, water weld or something, but anyway, that didn't work. They still have a drip. You can see the stain here. And I'm not gonna replace this because this is galvanized pipe going into the wall. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, everything else is copper, but where the valves stub out, it's galvanized. So we have a normal valve to a galvanized nipple, and that galvanized nipple, I'm assuming, is going into a copper elbow. But anyway, that's what they did. This home's pretty old. And what we're going to do is drill through the floor. Because if I drill through the wall, you know, there's no way to stub pipe up with an elbow effectively or efficiently. It's easier to just go through the floor and connect in the basement. So what we're gonna do is we are going to be drilling through tile. If you've never done this before, it can be a bit tricky. But I'm gonna show you exactly what to do. All right, let's see if I can get this set up here for y'all. This has been my, there we go, looks pretty good. Okay, now what I've done is you're going to need something like this to drill through the tile. So this is a 1-inch hole saw. See here, it says wet cuts. We'll talk about that in a second. But all porcelain, tile, and stone. So what I have done here is I have attached it to my drill, and you need to have water when you make your cuts. Okay, because number one, as you cut through the stone, it's going to get incredibly hot. If it gets too hot, you can risk the stone cracking, and instead of having a nice clean hole, you're gonna have a crack that could travel the length of the tile. So what I've done is I've gotten just a sponge, cleaning sponge, finds the cleaning aisle of your box store. I cut a little square out of it. I've dipped that square in water, and I've shoved it into the hole saw bit. Now, as I drill, the water is going to come down and keep the hole nice and wet. And you can even have it protruding out a little bit just to make sure. You have to apply a decent amount of force as you're drilling. But for the most part, we're just letting the bit do the work. And you'll feel it as soon as you start to cut. I'm about to have to change the battery on this. And you can see the water comes out perfectly. And then once you get the stone, what I do is I just pull my little piece of sponge out, and then I'm sticking a flathead or something to wedge in there, and that'll kind of get the stone that you just cut, it'll get it out. And I'll show you here in a second. You get just a beautiful cut. And that works, I mean, it's perfect. So now what I do is I dip the sponge in water one more time, shove it back in, and then just for good measure, I'll go through one more time. You'll feel when you bottom out because you're gonna start hitting wood. Once you hit wood, you can't use that bit anymore. So I've switched to a paddle bit. So my tile hole saw was a 1-inch. This is a 13/16 inch. if you can see that. So what we've done is we've drilled through the tile all the way to the subfloor. Okay? Now that we've put our subfloor, there you go. And then I'll take my clean sponge, just kind of drag back, and look at that. I mean, just a nice clean area. And what I've done here is instead of having pipe going through a hole, I've purchased these cover plates, 1/2 inch for 1/2 inch pipe. And you'll see, so instead of it just sitting like that, where you can see this, it's a lot more professional and nice if you have it like that. So that's how it'll sit. You'll see the valve. And what I'll do is, since we're working on copper, I'll show you how to prep copper for plumbing. There's a couple things you need to do. Set this right here. There we go, perfect. Okay, so there's 2 tools. I use this, a deburring tool. Then I use this, it's just a cleaner tool, it's a wire brush. So that goes on the inside, then it has these for the outside. So on most of these tools, you're gonna see arrows, and that's showing you which way you need to turn. When you flip it over to do the outside, you're turning the same way, but the arrow's still gonna show. So I apply a little bit of force. Kind of sounds like a duck call or something. Then flip it over, same thing. Couple turns. I'll go ahead, do the other side. Flip it over. Get the outside of the pipe. Now, if you look, see how those little pieces of copper are sticking out? If you're using a Pro Press fitting, which let me see, I'll grab one in my bucket here. Let me get a 3/4 inch one so you can see inside of it a little bit easier. So in Pro Press fittings, there's a little O-ring right there on the inside. So you see this lip on the outside? There's an O-ring that fits inside of that and it seals the pipe. But if you don't clean the outside of the copper, that copper wire can cut that O-ring when you insert the pipe into the fitting. So that's what this brush is for. I just go in and out twice, and then and you can see we've got a much cleaner finish there. There's no bristles sticking out. Everything is nice, smooth, super clean. And if you've ever gotten a little shaving of copper in your finger, you know how bad it sucks. It's not fun. But I'll just kind of slightly rub my finger along the edges, because really, I mean, when you're dealing with water, this may seem like it's overkill. But when you're dealing with water, you don't want to leak, because that could cost you a lot more. And not just time, but money as well. And now you're ready to fit your valve on there, whatever it is. Maybe you're using a female adapter and you're going to thread in a valve, even if you're using a shark bite, whatever it is, this is definitely a good thing to do in preparation for whatever fitting you're going to be connecting. So that's that. I'll show you the final product once I get it all done. And yeah, now you know how to do this.